Hello everyone, my name is Waffle and welcome to the 11th episode of Strats Explained, Magically Easy, a video series where I explain how and why different strats and glitches that speedrunners use work. Today we are talking about an interesting trick that is called Go to Zero, or translated to plain English, restarting the game. But not through the pause menu by pressing New Game, no, it's actually done by starting a mission in a very specific way. As a result, you end up in two different points of time simultaneously. I should mention that this trick in theory could work in any GTA starting from 3 and finishing with Vice City Stories. However, because of the side effects, most of the games crash. But different versions, different platforms for the same game can behave differently. It is known that the following versions don't crash: GTA San Andreas PC versions 1.0 and 1.01. San Andreas Remastered for iOS, the latest version, so 2.2. GTA Vice City Stories for PSP, American and Japanese versions. And for PS2, European version. GTA Vice City Definitive Edition for PC, version 1.03. Anything else and I don't know the answer. For example, GTA 3 crashed both on PC and on PS2, but I haven't tried the Japanese version. I haven't tried the mobile versions. Maybe they work. I don't know. Testing all of this would take a lot of time and effort, and today's video is not about it anyway. What is it about then? Well, let's see the trick in action. First of all, we of course will need duping, so starting one mission when another one is active. In GTA San Andreas there are multiple mission combinations that can lead to Go to Zero, but I decided to show you the easiest one. So we need to start pimping during drive-thru. Obviously it has to be at a very specific point, so we come back to Sweet's house, we skip the cutscene, and when the screen fully fades to black, we start and cancel pimping. If you don't cancel the side mission in time, the game will crash, otherwise you'll see the beloved intro. If you want to try it yourself, let me know down in the comments, and I'll tell you what to press, when to press, how to press, etc. I will also put all of the relevant information about this and other methods in the description for this video. In GTA Vice City Stories you have to buy Phil Collins' concert during Swingers Club. Unfortunately, you will be able to complete only a handful of missions before they stop appearing on the map. But to be fair, this game hasn't been researched that well, so maybe there is a method to unlock the rest and somebody will find it in the future. But what I like about this particular combination the most is that you can use it even after you complete the game 100%. We also must not forget about negative effects. For example, most of your safe houses and their garages become unavailable again. In GTA San Andreas things are not that bad. Folks from the speedrunning community told me that you can actually complete the game. However, there are gonna be multiple obstacles on your way. Some of the missions are gonna be harder. The game can crash randomly in multiple places, but with enough patience you can make it through. I also asked how many times can you do this trick on one save file, and they said if you do it one more time, so 2 times in total, then all of your next save files are gonna be corrupted. As you can see, I have 2 different missions available, but that's not the only thing we've got. Here's a little brother, his name is Barrel Johnson. To be honest, he's quite useless. He cannot start missions, he cannot get in cars, but even he has his uses. Speedrunners use him in ILs, where the goal is to complete the mission you chose as quickly as possible. Let's look at tagging up turf and see how Go to Zero helped to complete this mission in under 2 minutes. First of all, we cannot use Transfender from Los Santos because it becomes unavailable after we restart the game. That's why we unlock the one from Las Venturas and use it for Nitro. Next, we can also get access to jetpacks and put them wherever we need them. Barrel is also actively participating in this IL. His role is to spray one of the tags. Pay attention to the counter, it goes from 4 straight to 6. Finally, we can get a tank and put it on the bridge in the very specific spot where the fence is. By blocking its spawn, it will respawn just as a texture without collision and we will be able to go through it. As you can see, we can come up with a lot of creative, fast and cool looking strats. If you want to see more, check the description. But now let's go back to our main topic. As I mentioned previously, for this trick we need to dupe missions. If you haven't seen my video about it, I highly recommend watching it first. Not only will it make this video easier to understand, it will also be very helpful in the future episodes. For those who have already seen it, I'll recap some key points. When you start a mission during another mission, the first mission is fully replaced by the second one. but the code execution will continue from the point where the first mission left off. As an analogy, I imagine that you are reading a book, and you decided to close your eyes to take a little break. And during that time, somebody takes your book and replaces it with a different one. You open your eyes and you try to continue reading from where you stopped. And there is a high chance you end up in the middle of a word. The exact same thing happens here. You try to execute a command from the middle of it. And when that happens, the game usually crashes, but not always. And when the game survives, we sometimes get very interesting outcomes. GoToZero is one of them. Before we look at the broken goto command, let's look at the proper one. This is GTA's San Andreas, but the game doesn't matter. As you can see, we have a goto to the label introst 149, which is located right here. So when the game executes this goto, it moves onto this line next. But goto is written in a human language, the game doesn't understand it. And that raises a question, how can we translate from human language to computer language? Time for another analogy. Imagine that you have a phone book, and to make things easier for both me and you, let's say that one person can have only one phone number. And if someone asks you what is somebody's phone number, you can easily find it in your phone book, as long as that person is on the list, of course. And likewise, if someone asks you whose phone number is that, you can find the answer in your phone book. So, as you can see, it works both ways. In math we call it bijection. Here we have the same kind of a reference book, or a dictionary if you want, that allows us to translate commands from human language to computer language. In computer language, commands are represented as 4 digits, or 2 bytes. GoToZero, for example, is 0002. These numbers are called opcodes, or operation codes. We can actually see that number in the second column here, or if we look at the code of actual missions, in the third one. So when we want to call goto, we say 0002. Alright, but where do we want to go to? Let's look at our label again, and we'll see that the next command after it has the global offset of 94,584. We convert that number to hexadecimal and we get 017178. And our final command is 0002 017178. But it's not that easy. When computer sees 017178, it doesn't understand what you want from it. Is it an integer? Is it a floating point value? You see, different types are stored differently in the memory. So this number can very well be 1.3 times 10 to the power of negative 40. Maybe you need it for whatever reason. How do we tell the computer that this is an integer? The answer is very simple. Before each value, we put one more byte that will denote the type. And it turns out there is another reference book for that, or rather a table. I'll leave the link to it in the description. Here we have 4 columns. In the very first one we have the type code, the byte we're looking for. The next one tells us the value length in bytes. The third one says which games support that type code, and finally we have its description. We want to pass an integer, and we have 3 options for that. The first one, a 32-bit signed integer, which is 4 bytes. Then an 8-bit signed integer, so 1 byte, and 16-bit signed integer, so 2 bytes. We know that our value is 3 bytes long already, so we can fit it in neither 1 byte nor 2. That's why we have to use this one, a 4-byte integer. And for that we need to add 2 leading zeros. And our final command becomes 0002 01 00 01 71 78. And we can easily check it. To do so, open the game script in any hex editor. I'm using hexed.it. Take the global offset of the goto command we were looking at and paste it into the goto field. Go there, and there it is. Our command looks Hold on, it doesn't look exactly the same. What's wrong here? And this is the time when I introduce to you another term from the world of computers. Endianness. It basically describes how data is stored in the computer memory, more specifically, the order of bytes. There are many different ways, but 2 of them are the most popular by far, little endian and big endian. The way we wrote our command is big endian, it's from left to right, this is what most of us are used to. But GTA expects little endian, so from right to left. Which means that all we have to do to fix our command is take each part and flip the order of bytes. We flip the opcode and we get 0200. We don't really have to flip the type because it's only 1 byte long. we flip the value and we get 78, 71, 01, 00. And now we've got a perfect match. Let's look at the real examples. We'll start with GTA Vice City Stories. After the dupe we end up right here, so let's try to read our first opcode. 0002. This is goto. Okay, the type is 01. Let's go back to our reference table, this time for LCS and VCS. Right before the table there's an interesting note. In some instances the type code itself denotes the argument value. For example, 01 represents the integer value of 0. And the same thing is said in the table. 01 is an immediate 1 byte signed integer constant 0. So it means that the type code itself provides the value too, value of 0, meaning that this is already a goto 0. We don't have to read anything after it. Another example. This is GTA San Andreas and the mission combination is Mad Dog plus Taxi Driver. After the dupe we end up right here, we read the first opcode 0300. Let's look into our reference table. And oh no, it's not here. What happens in this situation? The answer depends on the game. GTA 3, Vice City and Liberty City Stories will say, okay, I don't know this opcode, I'm just gonna skip it and move on to the next one. GTA San Andreas and Vice City Stories will most likely crash, but not always. For example, in GTA San Andreas, if that opcode happens to be in the range of valid opcodes, like look, it is supposed to be in between these two, then the game won't crash, it will act like older games and just skip it. But if there was something like, let's say, AAAA, so way outside of our valid range, then the game would crash. But anyway, let's go to the next one, 0050. Once again, go back to our dictionary, and we see that it is GoSub. I already explained how GoSubs work. They are very similar to goto, the only difference is that the game expects us to go back to that GoSub at some time in the future. But in our case it's never gonna happen, so we can say that goto and GoSub work exactly the same in this scenario. The type we have is 0A. Back to our table, and even though we can find that type code in the table, it is for strings. And I know that goto, GoSub and other opcodes like that, they don't work with strings, so for these opcodes it's an invalid type code. So what happens when the game encounters an invalid type code? Well, the game says, okay, now I don't understand what you want from me, I'm just gonna go back to the last executed command with a parameter, and it can be from any script, and I'm gonna take the value from there and hope that everything works. And I'm not going to explain why, because this video is complicated enough already, but in 99.9% of situations, the last executed command is going to be wait 0. So the game takes that 0 and uses it for our GoSub, and we end up executing GoSub 0, which acts exactly like goto 0, and that restarts the game. As you can see, we have a lot of ways of restarting the game. We have different opcodes, different values, and even the games are different. Your challenge today is to come up with something that we haven't checked in this video. Right now, on your screen, you see the combinations that we went over in one way or another. You just need to suggest a different one. In your answer, write the command in the computer language. Preferably separate the different parts of it with some spaces. Don't forget to specify the game, and I would really appreciate it if you followed with a little explanation. What opcode you chose, what type code, why did you choose this particular value? If everything is correct, you're gonna get a heart on your comment. Everything you need to solve this challenge was shown in this video. In the end, I'd like to say a few more words about some of the effects you get after performing this trick. Apart from the obvious stuff, like islands being locked again, we get some surprising things. We've already seen barrel, but what we haven't seen yet is save marker wormholes. Every time you save the game, you get teleported to the next safe house. Unfortunately, interiors don't load, so it might be tricky to get out, but it is totally possible. I would say this is quite an interesting and a very fast method of moving across the map. We have some bad stuff too. CJ forgot how to run. Every 2 seconds or so he just stumbles, and it is very, very annoying. And this is it for today. A poll for the next topic is live already. Click the link from the pinned comment and choose the most interesting topic. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you don't want to miss the next episode, consider subscribing. My name is Waffle, see you the next time.